Hello everyone, Naman Trivedi here. So we are going on with the chapter of excretory system. So we are into the fourth lecture. This is the English medium lecture. I'll be taking the topic called regulation of kidney function, which comes after the countercurrent mechanism. I hope you have seen my last video and the last few lectures of this chapter. If you have not been through it, then kindly go through the last lecture of countercurrent mechanism. It has been mentioned in my YouTube channel. Channel name is Naman Trivedi Biology for NEET. You can also go through my other lectures and subscribe and like my channel for access to few more lectures. Okay, because I'll be uploading lectures every day. Kindly go through countercurrent. If you have any doubts, please mention it in the comments, and I hope you know how to view the video. The best way is to download the video in the highest quality, and then you can see it in MX player in your mobile phone, or you can see it in VLC player in the laptop. Okay, so we'll start with the regulation of kidney function. Okay, so if you talk about the topic of regulation of kidney function, then mainly it is regulated by hormonal feedback. I have explained the hormonal feedback in the chapter of endocrine system. So there are three main organelles or parts which plays role in this, and we can call them as hypothalamus, JGA, juxtaglomerular apparatus, and heart. Now hypothalamus, as you know, is a part of brain. Then JGA, it is a part of the nephron in kidney, and heart, as we know, it is the main circulatory or blood pumping organ. Okay. Now there is something called osmoreceptors. In our body. Okay, so this can sense the osmotic concentration of the fluid and ions. So as you know, we need water. We need to drink water. We feel thirsty. So water, that sensing is mainly based on such osmotic receptors. So if you can see, these are activated by, just a moment, these are activated by any change. In blood volume. Osmoreceptors are activated by any change in blood volume, body fluid volume, or ionic concentration. That means, in short, these osmoreceptors can sense any change in the ionic amount, or what we call as the electrolyte amount, and any change in the water content of the body. Okay, so where these osmoreceptors are located? These osmoreceptors are located mainly in hypothalamus and in kidney. In kidney, if you know about the macula densa part, which I have discussed in the functions of the tubules, then osmoreceptors are mainly found in the what we call as the hypothalamus and kidney. Just a moment, I'll just show you how it is. Let me open the board. Please wait for a while. So if you talk about the osmoreceptors, then osmoreceptors are mainly found in two parts. That is, one, they are found in the hypothalamus, and second, they are in the macula densa. Okay, so hypothalamus, as you know, is the, I'm double to use it, just a moment. Yeah, hypothalamus, as you know, is the part of brain. Okay, whereas just a moment, I don't know what's wrong, just hold on a moment. Yeah, whereas if we talk about the macula densa, it is part of the DCT in the nephron. So each kidney will have macula densa. So as such, if we talk about the macula densa and the hypothalamus, then they mainly play role as osmoreceptors. So both of these, that is macula densa and hypothalamus. So both of these, that is macula densa and hypothalamus, are our main osmoreceptors. They can sense change in H2O content as well as ionic content. They can sense change in H2O content as well as ionic content. Okay, so keep this in mind. So we'll take different conditions. Okay, that is either we can feel thirsty or will not feel thirsty. So in that relation, let's say from our body there is excessive fluid loss. So this will activate the osmoreceptors. Now what these osmoreceptors will do? These osmoreceptors will stimulate. Okay, in the case of the excessive fluid loss, as you can see, what will happen? The next step will be osmoreceptors will be activated. The osmoreceptors will be activated. I'm zooming in a bit so you can easily view it. So it will stimulate hypothalamus to release ADH and vasopressin. So from the hypothalamus we will have release of ADH, or what we call as vasopressin. If you remember my endocrine system chapter, I have mentioned that, and this is mainly released from what we call as neurohypophysis. So ADH is released from hypothalamus, which will basically facilitate the reabsorption of water from the latter parts of the tubule, which will basically facilitate the reabsorption of water from the latter part of this. So we are talking about DCT. This will help in reabsorption of water from the DCT, okay, of the what we call as the nephron. Okay, and that's why what it will do, that's why it will mainly prevent diuresis. It will mainly prevent diuresis. So what is diuresis? That is excessive loss of water through urine or excessive urination. So the urination will stop. So when there is fluid loss through any mode like perspiration or anything that usually happens in summer, then we go for less bouts of urination. That is because our body will prevent diuresis, and that's why the urination will be minimized. While in winter it's opposite, so urination is more. So that is about the excessive fluid loss. Now we'll talk about the second condition. I'm just zooming in a bit so it will be easier for you. Okay, ignore the Gujarati part because as you know I also take in Gujarati medium, so I don't know Gujarati words. I have mentioned it over here. Okay, so if there is increase in body fluid volume, then it will switch off the osmoreceptor and ADH release will be suppressed and the feedback gets over. That is, let's say if there is more than normal water is there, so whatever osmoreceptors we have in hypothalamus and macula densa will be switched off, and ADH release from the hypothalamus will be switched off, and that's why the feedback will be over. So now there is no secretion of ADH and the what we call as vasopressin or from the hypothalamus, and hence the normal diuresis can continue. So it's very easy. More body fluid volume, osmoreceptors switched off in hypothalamus macula densa, ADH release stopped, and feedback gets over, and the diuresis will be normally continuing. Now we'll talk about the other effects of ADH. Now if you see, ADH can also have other effect. That is, it can have what we call as the constrictory effect on blood pressure or flow. It can have constrictory effect. It can have what we call as constrictory effect. Now what is constrictory? That means it will lead to the congestion or lead to the constriction, okay, of the blood vessels. It will lead to the constriction of the blood vessels. Now there is a simple logic we should know. When the blood vessels will be constricted, there is vasoconstriction. I have discussed the same thing in circulatory system. So if you have not gone through my lectures, then go through the circulatory system lecture. You will come to know about vasoconstriction and vasodilation, and then the GFR will increase, so ultimately the logic goes like, let me take the board. So ultimately what will happen, that whenever you talk about the, let's say there is vasoconstriction, so the blood vessels are constricted, so it will increase, blood pressure will increase. Now as the blood pressure will increase, basically the blood flow will increase, and hence GFR will increase, Now what is GFR? GFR is nothing but glomerular filtration rate. I have explained the same thing in my last lectures also, so you should know. So ultimately, as there is more blood pressure, blood flow will increase. Upper arrow means increase, it means increase. So this will lead to increase in blood flow in this part through the afferent arteriole, and this part is what we call as, over here as you know there is glomerulus. Okay, so it will lead to increase in glomerular filtration rate. Why? Because as vasoconstriction can lead to blood pressure increase, can lead to blood flow increase, can lead to glomerular blood flow increase, and that's why the GFR. So more blood will come, more filtration will happen. So this is the generalized effect. Okay, this is the generalized effect of what we call as the entire process. So this will be stepwise effect. You can see vasoconstriction lead to the blood pressure increase, blood pressure will lead to blood flow increase, it will lead to the blood flow increase in glomerulus, and as more blood will flow, so there will be more filtration, so GFR will also increase. So GFR will also increase. Okay, so considering there is more GFR, okay, then there will be ultimately it is a result of what we call as higher blood pressure. Okay, as a result of what we call as higher blood pressure. And just a moment, so that's say we have, there is, just a moment, so there is high blood pressure, so there is more blood flow, so there is more glomerular blood flow, and so the GFR will increase. So these all processes are in sequence. Okay, so that is what I am trying to explain over here, and that is what has been mentioned in this part. So go through this part. Constriction means the blood vessels will be constricted. Opposite of expansion is the constriction. Okay, their size will decrease. Okay, their size will decrease. So if it was just a moment, if it was something like this, it will change to this. This is termed as constriction. This is termed as constriction. This size, as you know, has been decreased. Now we'll talk about the most important thing is RAS mechanism. That is the RAS mechanism. So RAS mechanism stands for renin. I'll just take the board. RAS mechanism stands for renin. Let me write. Yeah, we're talking about the RAS mechanism. So R means renin. It is renin with single N. It's a hormone. It's a renin with single N. It's a hormone. Then we have what we call as A. So A stands for angiotensinogen. It's an inactive angiotensinogen. Then we have next is another A. That means angiotensin. It's the activated form of angiotensinogen. Okay. Then finally also we have something called as aldosterone. So it entirely stands for renin angiotensinogen angiotensin aldosterone mechanism. This will come from what? It will come from adrenal gland. Why? Because it's a mineralocorticoid. It's a mineralocorticoid. Okay, so we will talk about this entire RAS mechanism. So the juxtaglomerular apparatus. So the juxtaglomerular apparatus, which I have covered in my earlier lectures, you can go through that to know in detail how it will function. So let's say there is fall in the, there is GFR is decreased. So blood pressure, glomerular blood pressure, glomerular blood flow. GBP stands for glomerular blood pressure. GB stands for glomerular blood flow. GFR stands for glomerular filtration rate. Okay, so I'll be using these terms only, short forms, so be with me on the same page. It will activate the JG cells. It will activate the JG cells. It will activate the JG cells, and hence renin will be released, and hence renin will be released. Now this renin can activate angiotensinogen into angiotensin 1. This renin can activate angiotensinogen into angiotensin 1, and this one will be converted into what we call as angiotensin 2, which is a powerful vasoconstrictor, okay. So it will increase GBP, it will increase GFR, okay. So as such, angiotensinogen will be converted into what we call as angiotensin 1 by the under the presence of renin. Remember, this renin is a renin with single N. It's a hormone, it's not an enzyme. The renin was the renin which was there in digestive system, it was renin with double N, and it was an enzyme. So these JG cells, juxtaglomerular cells, these JG cells will secrete renin. These JG cells will secrete renin, which will activate angiotensinogen into angiotensin 1. And I'm just zooming it so as you can see. Then this angiotensinogen was inactive form. It was inactive. So now we have activated form. It will be converted into angiotensin 2. Okay, this was 1. Over here we have 2, which is a vasoconstrictor. So as vasoconstriction will happen, blood flow, blood pressure will increase, and GFR will increase. So it's very simple. Let me use the board over here. So ultimately, yeah, ultimately this JG cells, okay, from this JG cells there is release of renin. It is a hormone. Okay, I'm writing with my fingers, so this problem will happen. Okay, so just handwriting will not be that great. So what will happen in the next stage? This renin will convert angiotensinogen, and renin will convert angiotensinogen into angiotensin 1. Convert angiotensinogen into angiotensin 1. This angiotensin 1, it is active, it will be converted into angiotensin 2. Now this angiotensin 2, okay, this angiotensin 2 is basically a powerful vasoconstrictor, okay. It is a powerful vasoconstrictor. So what will happen? So the blood vessels or arteries will basically get constricted. So this will lead to increase in blood flow, increase in blood pressure, okay, and increase in GFR. All this will mainly increase, all the three things, and that's why there will be more urination process will be there, okay. Now this angiotensinogen 2, okay, now this angiotensin 2, I'm just zooming it a bit, yeah, this angiotensin 2, okay, can also activate adrenal cortex, and so aldosterone is released, this will lead to reabsorption of sodium H2O from the distal parts or different parts of the tubule. Usually mainly it happens from the DCT part. The absorption of sodium water is promoted. Aldosterone is a mineralocorticoid released from adrenal cortex. As you know, we have discussed adrenal gland in the endocrine system, so kindly refer my lecture of endocrine system, will come to know. And aldosterone will lead to reabsorption of sodium and H2O, which is sodium, as you know, is the main electrolyte. We also discussed in the countercurrent, and that's why this can lead to again increase in blood pressure and GFR. So as you can see in this entire part, the cortex, we have aldosterone, sodium H2O will be absorbed as it's a mineralocorticoid. It promotes reabsorption from DCT, and that's why blood pressure and GFR will basically increase, okay. Now we'll talk about the check on roll on RAS mechanism. That is the control. What controls RAS mechanism? We need some sort of control, okay. Just like in a school, we need to have some control on you, okay. So let's talk about the ANF. We'll talk about the ANF. ANF stands for atrial natriuretic factor. ANF stands for atrial natriuretic factor. So this ANF leads to increase in blood flow to the atria of heart, and that's why ANF will be released. ANF causes vasodilation and the blood pressure will decrease. ANF causes vasodilation and the blood pressure will decrease. Okay, so let's say this ANF is released from the atria of the heart. So there is, whenever there is blood flow increase from the heart, because as you know, blood pumping and diuresis and the kidney function is related. Okay, so that's why when the blood pressure is more blood will come to the kidney. So as there is more blood flow to the atria of the heart, ANF will be released from the heart wall. This ANF causes what? Vasodilation. That is, now the expansion of blood vessels will happen and the blood pressure will decrease and the blood pressure will increase. So from this condition of the blood vessels, it will be expanded. Okay, so it's very simple. There is, let's say, blood flow has increased to heart. It will be sensed by heart wall and ANF, atrial natriuretic factor, release from heart wall or atria mainly. Okay, then in the next stage from the heart wall, this ANF will lead to vasodilation. It will lead to vasodilation. Vasodilation means expansion of blood vessels. Vasodilation means expansion of blood vessels. So blood pressure will decrease. As the blood pressure will decrease, glomerular blood pressure, glomerular blood flow will also decrease, and thence the GFR will also decrease, and hence the GFR will also decrease, and ultimately the blood pressure decreases as they have shown over here. So ANF basically acts as a check-on mechanism on renin-angiotensinogen mechanism. Okay. Next we can also take questions. We'll take questions from all the chapters which we have covered. So they asked this question that how this activity is exhibited. So the question was about the loss of sodium and chloride. So let's say there is loss of sodium. I'll take the entire pathway so it will be easier for you to understand. So let us assume that there is loss of sodium and chloride. Na plus Cl is lost. So water is also lost, along with that it is lost. Okay, so there is low blood pressure. It is detected by juxtaglomerular cells. Okay, so this will release, the renin release will be there. Okay, then angiotensin will be activated. As you can see, angiotensin will be activated, and this angiotensin will lead to the release of the aldosterone. Okay, as you can see over here, and this will lead to activation of angiotensin, aldosterone and sodium reabsorption. So entirely Golgi cells will release renin, will increase AGT, so there will be vasoconstriction. So aldosterone is also released again and the sodium reabsorption will happen. So the loss of sodium and chloride is prevented. This is how the entire mechanism functions. This is how this question was asked in NEET. So go through it. I'll take the questions in next week. So here we end the RAS mechanism and the regulation of kidney function. It is one of the most important topics. It is one of the most important topics in the entire NEET, because they have frequently asked questions from this topic. Okay, and on an average you can expect that at least one question or two questions will come from this topic if they are asking 2 or 3 questions from this chapter. Okay, so the main part of chapter gets over with this. The rest of part is comparatively very easy. So we'll go through that in the subsequent lectures, and we'll also take questions of human physiology. I'll make a lecture on that questions in the lectures which I'll be uploading in next week. So keep following and keep subscribing my channel. Thank you guys. Mention your doubts, any comments, any suggestions if you have in the comment section, mention below the video. Okay, like video lecture, just a moment. Okay, thank you guys. This is all Naman Trivedi signing off. Take care, be safe.